The question of the night was, could the Jazz 27th ranked defense ever shut down Portland's last ranked offense? And the answer was yes, in the fourth quarter. And the Jazz are 2-0 in tournament play. We're talking about it next on Postcast.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's David Locke along with Ron Boone as the Utah Jazz defeat the Portland Trailblazers by the final score of 115-99 tonight, outscoring the Blazers 20-13 in the fourth quarter, and they did it defensively in the fourth quarter as the Blazers in that fourth quarter tonight shot 4 of 23 and 1 of 11 from 3. So that really was the story of the night. This is a very shorthanded Portland team without Anthony Simons, without Scoot Henderson, without Malcolm Brogdon. And so the question to me was, can the Jazz defense shut them down? And frankly, they really hadn't through three quarters. The Portland offensive rating was a 115 on the season. They're a 106, so that wasn't great. At the end of three quarters, they were shooting 51% and 42% from three. I said to you, that's a little disturbing. But in the fourth quarter, the Jazz got after them and really took control of the basketball game.
Yeah, you can just see in that first three quarters, as well as we thought the Jazz were playing at that point, the Portland Trailblazers were still just hanging around. The Jazz all year long be giving up 49% shooting from the field, and that's not defenses can't hold up and win basketball games for you. But fourth quarter, a little bit different, knowing that it was getting a little close, the Jazz did clamp down.
The fact is, this team still goes a little bit as Jordan goes, right? Jordan had a really nice night out in Memphis. And tonight, Jordan goes 13 of 19. He makes his first 6 shots. He scores 30 points. The numbers on Jordan Clarkson and wins versus losses is really dramatic. They need that scoring from Jordan Clarkson. And tonight, they really need it because Lowry fought through a struggle to get to his 21 points tonight on 8 of 18 shooting. It's a tribute to Lowry that he still got there. But Jordan was the guy tonight. They didn't have an answer for him. He got a bunch of good looks. And the Jazz have to have that second scorer consistently on this roster.
Well, you remember last season, when Jordan got going and the flame was lit and he was starting to put a lot of points on the board, the pace, the tempo, everything just picks up and rides with him. And when he can get into the paint, I love this paint shooting now. I mean, he's not forcing it to the rim or anything. He's getting to that paint about the dotted line, shooting little runners, little floaters, and shooting a great percentage.
Took 9 threes, took 10 twos tonight. Did not shoot any free throws. He had made 23 straight coming in at the free throw line, so too bad he did not get to the line. So he is averaging in the last 3 games 30 points a game. The only thing that's really different in those 3 games is Keyonte George has become the point guard. Yeah. Is there something to Keyonte playing point guard that has freed up Jordan Clarkson?
We've heard so much about James Harden and Paul and Kawhi Leonard and George, those guys that play with the balls in their hand. Can they survive? And can they help each other out? I think Jordan and Tucker, that kind of mix doesn't work that well. And I think the fact that Jordan now playing with Keyonte, who doesn't necessarily have to play with the ball in his hands, and he's looking to set teammates up. Jordan gets the chance now to be a little more free, and I think that's what we're seeing. The type of ball that he wants to, type of game that he wants to play.
The biggest number of the night is probably 0, and that is the amount of turnovers the Jazz had in the first quarter.
Unbelievable.
Of this game. They had 4 in the first half. They had 7 at the end of 3 quarters. These are very reasonable numbers, and they finished with 12. This is a team that literally was not passing from point A to point B and was not dribbling from point A to point B.
And that's the key there, David, not dribbling.
And that's what was leading those turnovers. They did not commit those tonight. Can you give all of that credit to Keyonte George, or is it just that he is he a set, as crazy as this is, at 20 years old, is he a settling force?
I think you can give a ton of it to him. And you can also give a lot of it to Will too, because the execution of the offense, when you're running an offense, sometimes 2 or 3 passes get you the type of shots that you want, and the ball's not stopping. But a few more ball games where we get a little clearer sample size or something like that, the way they're playing right now, we'll get a clearer picture. But the ball movement and 2 or 3 passes to get the same shot that you can get going one-on-one.
Here's what's really interesting to me, Ron, and I'm going to have to be a little obtuse to all of you, and Ron's going to get it because we talked about this at practice in Memphis, but there's something that the Jazz have been practicing every single day that we've been to practice, and they just weren't doing it at all in games. And I literally went to go talk to Will about it and said, like, what do you do about this? Like, what do you like show them up in film? Like, how? He says, we practice it every day. We talk about it in every huddle. We talk about it in every timeout. We remind them in every film session. Mm-hmm. And eventually you hope they're going to do it. I saw it 5 to 7 times tonight, which I had not seen. And the Jazz, and I apologize, I just, it's a strategy thing. And I think that there's a level where we get great access, but we get the great access because we don't tell the opponents what we're talking about right now. And the opponents do listen to this. I'm 100% certain of that fact. I know that every scout in the league watches this. But I think that's a good example of what you're talking about with Will. Like, there are these little things that you're seeing them make progress. Now, it certainly helps to play Memphis, who's 29th in the league offensively, and Portland, who's 30th in the last 2 games. That helps. But frankly, we were there for a little while. We were the worst team in the league the way we were playing. So they certainly have picked up a level in their last 2 games.
2 things come to mind what you're saying. If the Jazz don't do what they need to do to beat this team who's shorthanded, what does that say about them and the time and the way they're playing? The other thing is that what you're saying is that the type of offense and early secondary break that they want to use. I saw it 2 or 3 times tonight, but not enough that I think to satisfy Will. Right. It's a method to what they was a system anyway, the way they want to run their secondary break, and they do it sometimes they don't. And what Will is looking for is to do it 80 to 90% of the time.
One of the guys who I don't think will get a lot of accolades because there's 2 guys I thought were super impressive tonight that I don't think will get any accolades, and they won't be our stars of the game. So I'm going to signal them out here. One is, I actually think that Ochai Agbaji's role in this starting lineup is really important. Will Hardy said before the game he has proven that he plays well with good players. Will Hardy, in the very first press conference of the entire season, talked about young players need to figure out where they fit in this ecosystem. Not go shoot 23 times. Like, how do you fit in the ecosystem? Ochai Agbaji might be part of the reason there's no turnovers. Ochai Agbaji moves the basketball. He instinctually passes before he dribbles. He gets to the right spot. He runs the floor as he's supposed to. He's doing a lot of things on a 2 for 7 night, but with 8 rebounds that I think are very important to why this team offensively looks much more cohesive in that starting lineup.
Okay, so I totally agree with what you're saying. And what he's looking for out of Agbaji, I mean, he can shoot. And I think his shooting will get better. Agbaji's 6'5", rebound. But I really think what he wants for Agbaji to concentrate more on is being that stopper.
Yes.
That defensive stopper that, Agbaji, Luka, that's your man. Do the best you can, but don't give up, the easy buckets and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's the kind of player that he wants him to be. And every great team seems to have a guy like that, to where they play the D, they make the shots. They don't take. Let's put it this way: they get 8 shots a ball game, they make 3. Good night, But defensively, it's what they're looking for.
The other guy I'd signal is Lowry.
Yeah,
there's we've talked about Lowry, the leader. To me, tonight's the night where Lowry shows leadership because he fights through the night. He doesn't hit his threes early. He doesn't feel very comfortable. You can see it. His shot he looked off, like his body looked off.
Front of the rim.
21 points, 9 rebounds, bunch of big shots late. But to me, that was leadership tonight because he didn't sulk. He didn't get upset. His body language was good the whole night, and he stayed engaged.
Yeah, and you find ways to get it done. And called a couple of plays for him out of timeouts. He missed one jumper, then he made the other one down there in the corner. So just the leadership.
What do you think of? Let's get to this. What do you think of the purple floor?
I love the floor. I love all the floors. I didn't like Memphis's floor.
It was boring.
It was just dull.
Yeah. You know what they look like on television to me? They almost look like a swimming pool. And somehow someone dyed the swimming pool purple. It does. Like, you look at it, they look like they're swimming pools. And I love the City Edition jerseys. There's so many things you could do with that City Edition jersey that's exciting. They're great.
I want you to think about this. How many times we see guys slip tonight?
Didn't
see any. We've seen it on other floors.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe the Jazz did something really, really well there. It was a super cool night. And by the way, 2-0 in in-season tournament play. We really haven't talked about that. Friday's a mammoth game. You get 3. So I do not think teams will go 4-0. I really don't. I think you're not going to. There's 6 groups. Maybe 1 or 2 is going to go 4-0. I think it's unlikely. You get that third win, you're going to be in like a chance for a tiebreaker, or maybe it's going to be something, obviously head-to-head. Lakers and Memphis are playing right now. I haven't looked to see what the score is. They were up 10 early. The latest score is Memphis is up. The Lakers are up 19, so they're going to take advantage of the point differential. So the Jazz, you want to have a night. If the Jazz could upset Phoenix and go to L.A. to play the 3-0 Lakers for a spot, be pretty awesome. Frankly, here's an interesting little thought on this, by the way. Other than the fact that Phoenix could end up 3-1 also, but if you actually lose to Phoenix and go beat the Lakers, you're 3-1. So are the Lakers. You beat the Lakers head to head. Now if Phoenix gets in there, then Phoenix is in, and then point differential determines it. So it gets super interesting here, and I think it's a sign that this is something that's going to work, and it's going to be a part of this league, and as we get more used to it. Great audience tonight, by the way. I'm just looking at our numbers, biggest of the year, so really fun to have you aboard. Lacey, the great Lacey, has come up with her first bad idea ever, which is that we should do Purple Hearts. But since that's really taken by military and it's been Veterans Day, I'm going to pass on that one, Lacey. I think that one, someone might take that in bad place. But we'll give Purple Stars out tonight for the Purple Court and everything. Ron Boone, who are your star? What's your stars?
Well, I got Jordan Clarkson for sure.
Yep, no question. 30 points, 12, 13, and 19.
And I'm going to go with George there as well. That backcourt.
15 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 25 minutes, plus 8. Shout out to Kelly Olynyk, 11 points and 12 rebounds. Shout out to 14 points and 7 assists from Colin Sexton, who was really scuffling before he came in tonight. But Keontae George and Jordan Clarkson, the new backcourt of the Utah Jazz. Get that. By the way, for those of you that are still with us, all of you, this is super exciting, and you guys have all been a part of building this network and making it what it is. This week, we launched the first ever 24/7 national sports channel on YouTube. It's a 24/7 sports channel stream on YouTube. It's called Locked On Sports Today. And when this show's over, that's what you're about to go get. So check that out. Please subscribe to Locked On Sports Today and check it out. It's the first ever 24/7 national sports channel stream on YouTube, and it's done by Locked On. It's pretty great. You get the biggest stories of the day, plus our national stories, and you get it. So make sure you subscribe to that and join it. Thank you very much for being a part of Locked On, the postcast tonight. I'll be back with you tomorrow for Locked On Jazz.